Let me ask you a question now. What does it take for a story to make an impact? The visuals, the number of people affected, or the way it's told? Well, if you ask me, the answer is none of the above. Let me tell you why I say this. Look at Bengaluru, for example. It is flooded. 13 million people have been affected. The visuals are scary, to say the least. And the media has been constantly talking about it for days now, as have people on social media. But Bengaluru floods only became a big story when the rich started bearing the brunt. When uber luxurious houses started witnessing floods, some of them reportedly costing upwards of 10 crore rupees. Bengaluru floods became a big story when visuals like these started emerging. And the story became bigger still when a startup CEO tweeted saying that he too was impacted. A startup CEO, he posted a video. He said his family and pet had to be evacuated on a tractor. Things are bad, he added. And because this verdict was coming from someone of a certain stature, people nodded along. Things must be really bad, they agreed. You get my point. A story becoming bigger when the rich are affected. Now, the real villain in this story, like we have been saying, is poor urban planning. And this is an old story. It's a story of encroachment. It's a story of shrinking drains and of unsustainable urbanization. Before I tell you more, let me show you what India's Silicon Valley looks like right now. Water levels have dropped in several parts, but there is still widespread waterlogging. The traffic flow is slowly returning to normal, but power lines remain disrupted in several areas. Same with water supplies. Also, the city's lakes continue to overflow. This happens every year. Bengaluru floods every year. Sure, the rainfall is this time record-breaking, the ordeal tougher than usual, but would the story have exploded the way it has now? Would so many people be talking about Bengaluru had only the poor been affected? Would CEOs even have tweeted about it? Like I was telling you, this is not a new story. In 2017, a letter was written to the then Chief Minister Siddaramaiah. It read, I'm quoting, "Dear Sir, Bengaluru has reached the stage of a dying city environmentally. Real estate developers have thrown planning norms to the winds." Bengaluru witnessed floods in 2019, in 2020, also in 2021. As the rainy season approached this year, the city's civic body warned that there are 209 spots that are vulnerable to flooding. Despite all the history and the warnings, it took hue and cry from the tech sector and from tech CEOs for the story to get the needed attention, for authorities to swing into action. 1,500 crores have now been set aside to drain water out of Bengaluru. 300 crores have been allocated to remove encroachment. Bengaluru floods, not the only recent example of an issue becoming big the way it has, because the rich were impacted. India is currently also talking about road safety. Some of you may be able to guess why. On the 4th of September, a former chairman of Tata Sons was killed in a road accident. I'm talking about Cyrus Mistry. Mistry's car dashed on a parapet bridge. He died on a national highway. Days later, India is looking to tighten road safety rules. Those in the back seat of a car will now be mandated to wear a seat belt. Defaulters will be penalized. Cars across categories will need to come with airbags. You know, every year, thousands of people die on Indian roads. There were over 400,000 road accidents in 2021. Over 155,000 people died. Every year, when the NCRB or National Crime Records Bureau numbers are released, the media makes it a point to highlight the number of road accidents. We talk about road safety, about negligent driving, speeding. Sadly, nothing changes. But the death of one industrialist starts changing things. Does this mean an average person's problem is not a problem? Or do the poor not deserve safer roads? Let me take you back to 2018. Indian violinist Bala Bhaskar and his 2-year-old daughter were killed in a car crash. The family was returning from a visit to a temple. The car hit a tree on the outskirts of Thiruvananthapuram. Bala Bhaskar was on the front seat with his daughter. The 2-year-old died on the spot. And guess what happened next? Within months, the state's Commission for Protection of Child Rights wrote to the Motor Vehicle Department. It was told to ensure that children below 13 travel in the rear seat. So do you see the pattern? Do you get the point I'm trying to make here? Bengaluru floods becoming a big story when the rich are affected. India's road safety becoming a priority issue when an industrialist dies in a road accident. And it takes the death of a celebrity's child to raise questions about what is the most appropriate seat for a child in a car. I began by asking you a question. What does it take for a story to make an impact? I guess you have the answer now, but let's hope this changes soon. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.